Welcome to our live event, The Role of AI Video in the Modern Workplace. I'm your host, Andrew Bolis. I'm a top voice in AI. I share AI use cases for business growth with my followers on LinkedIn. Today, I'm excited to be speaking with Yoav Einav, the CEO and co-founder of Guide, a pioneer in AI-powered video documentation. Yoav has decades of experience in technology and business. In this session, we'll explore how AI video can address key challenges in the modern workplace across three critical areas. The first is learning and development, the second is customer support, and the third is product marketing. We'll dive into how AI video tools like Guide can transform these functions to drive business results. Yoav, before jumping into these topics, it would be helpful to have you share more about your background in video and in the space of AI.
Cool. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Excited to join the event. Let's start. So, first of all, I'm Yoav. I'm the CEO and co founder of Guide. I started my career 15 years ago, not surprisingly, focused on AI and video already back then. And when you're talking about how I met Dan, my co founder in Guide, so he co founded a different company back in 2010 called Quilt, and I joined him back then as one of the first employees. Then co-founded Quilt, which is a content delivery network. Basically, it's a platform that distributes every video online in the US, in the EU, whether it's Disney Plus or ESPN or Amazon Prime or HBO Go. And what we did back then was actually help distribute the content to make sure that every household gets an HD stream at home. So we started working with AI and video back then. Fast forward to COVID, we reconnected and started working on what is Guide today. And when COVID started, we saw how everyone were shifted to a more remote first virtual workplace, a lot of Zoom session, repetitive topics and questions that are handled in Slack, emails, and endless session on the same topic. And we said that there must be a better or a more effective way to actually tackle that problem. And of course, video is probably the closest thing to a human interaction when you're talking about remote. But creating a video, making sure it's on brand with the right script, with the right voiceover, the motion requires a lot of visual skills. So what we basically build in Guide is the ability within 2 seconds using AI, you can create any video that you want to cover every feature, every workflow, every integration you have, and then make the video creation as easy as screenshot and the editing part as easy as PowerPoint, because probably those are the lowest or most common tools that everyone can actually use. So I think it's great being here, and we'll talk a lot about how to actually put in use AI to make it more effective and not just the buzzword, actually real use case that people are actually putting into use.
Yeah, and I think that is what people are looking for is ways to incorporate it into their everyday work to help them get their job done easier, faster, and better. And I think that's what we'll definitely cover in this event. So Yoav, let's start with learning and development. Training is a cornerstone of any organization, but it comes with its own set of challenges. What are some of the main challenges that companies are facing in training their employees today?
Cool. So I think in the L&D space, there are numerous amount of challenges as always, but I think there are three key ones that I usually run into when I'm talking with customers or partners. First and foremost is the fact that we live in a remote first. Everything is done over Zoom. There's almost no face-to-face meeting today, even if it's internal within your team or external with customers. So I think making content more engaging is a must. Otherwise, people have a very limited time span and they'll move away from the screen to emails, Facebook, Instagram, or other stuff. So I think that's like the first challenge. The second challenge is what I call is capturing the tribal knowledge, right? No one likes to document processes. No one wants to document his day-to-day job. So what people tend to do is just record hundreds of Zoom session, and then you have a pile of recording that it's really hard to really make use of. And what happened, you end up just asking the same question, the same people, or the SME, the guy that is an expert in BI, or the guy that is an expert in the CRM and you ask him the same question. So it's not really effective. And the third one I would say is probably around personalization. Today, most of the training, you have a 1 hour long webinar or 1 hour long session. It's one size fits all. It's not personalized. And today you have teams across the globe, different languages, different cultures, different set of experience. So you really need to make it more personalized versus a generic training model that fits everyone.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point you make about the recorded Zoom calls and just the very long videos. So I've had it at companies too where you just get a folder of all these like long video recordings. You don't know where anything is. You can't search the recordings. You can't really find what you're looking for quickly. So the recordings are like a nice initiative, but they don't really end up being that useful if it's just all long form and not very hard. And you touched on the engagement aspect. So can you elaborate on why engagement is such a critical issue in employee training?
Yeah, of course. I think, first of all, engagement, when the audience is engaged, they actually will use the knowledge better and it drives action. That's what eventually everything boils down to actions, right? If I'm training my sales team, I want them to sales better, to do the sales process better. If I'm training my BI tools, I want them to use the BI tools better. So I think usage drive expansions and actions and everything. So I think video as a whole, but using AI, you can make the content much more engaging, interactive, ask question, both on the creation side, have music, have motion, and also on the consumption side, right? When you chat with ChatGPT, it's not like a Google search. It's much more engaging. You ask question and you get answers based on those specific questions. And I think that's exactly where AI come into play, because creating interactive, engaging content is hard, and making sure it's up to date is even harder. And those are two key aspects that AI can really help with. And I think we'll talk about it in a minute about really like the tools that help you make it happen.
Yeah, those are great points. You mentioned that creating training content can be time consuming. So how does AI specifically help streamline that process?
So I think AI helps you first and foremost about in terms of creation. Right? It helps you when you talk about creating engaging content or even video content. You're talking about creating a script and motion, like a cookbook, or you're talking about creating like background music or maybe questions and stuff like that. So with AI, you can make everything really quickly and easily and consistent, which is also really important. Like you get the same tone of voice for every video. The script use the same terminology across the board. Doesn't matter who creates the content. The voiceover is professional, high quality voice. You don't need anyone to do the narration. You have different text to speech tools today that does it for you. So I think it's the creation that traditionally took you hours, sometimes days. Now you can do it in a few minutes and you get really professional or semi-professional content that is ready to go. So the entire production time, I think, is cut off, but by at least 90% of your time. And then the next part is the editing and making sure it's up to date, which is usually a second challenge that AI can really help.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite use cases is being able to go back to older documentation, edit it, and quickly update it without having to re-record the entire thing or redocument the entire thing, which with traditional methods of documenting processes, you typically have to just redo the whole thing over again. So Yoav, let's do a quick demo of Guide to show our audience how easy it is to use.
Cool. Let me show you. I think when you talk about video as a whole, any screen capture tool you have in your toolbox, usually people have 5 or 6 takes until they get it right. And then 3 weeks later, it's not up to date and you need to redo it again. So I think what I'm going to show you in a second is how easy it is to actually create a video that explains a specific process in our case, and then how easy it is to also make sure it's up to date and edited. Can you see my screen for a second?
Yep, I see it. It's up
Cool.
on.
Cool. So I'll show you a quick demo. I just picked a really simple use case so everyone can see how easy it is to create it. Let's say I'm working with DocuSign and I want to teach my teammates how they can control the order of signature when they create a new agreement for a sign up. So I have this browser add-on or extension that I can use for capturing. And then when I start the capture process, it asks me three questions. First of all, what kind of video do you want to create? Is it a new feature? Is it a training video for an employee? Is it the response to a support ticket? And so on. So let's pick FAQ. Second one is which languages do you want to create it? Like you can create the content in 40 different languages. You don't need to speak Spanish or Japanese, but you can create it in English and then automatically create the content in various languages. And let's speak English with the US accent in our case. And then it asks you what you want a video to show. So let's say how to control the order of signatures. Okay, that's it. Now, at this stage, you don't need to talk and explain and use your mouth to highlight specific stuff. It basically, you do your workflow and it understands the workflow and creates the content for you. So let's say I'm in the DocuSign app. I want to create on Start Now. And of course, let's give it another second try. When everything is live, also stuff can happen. So let's reinitiate it and do restart just for the sake of demo. Cool. So I'm starting from scratch. I'm clicking on Start Now. Now I can pick any template I need, like NDA or an employee agreement and so on. I'll probably need to pick at least 2 recipients to sign the document and then set the signing order based on the order I need. So that's like a simple use case. You can do it on every web app, on every tab. You can switch tabs. Once you're done, click on done, and within 2 seconds, you basically get the video. You have the visual, the script, the voiceover, the music, everything is done for you, and everything is consistent. It always uses the same tone of voice, the same wording without you needing to do anything. So I have this video here, and let's see how it looks. Okay, so you got the video here. All the visual is ready for you with the script. You don't need to do those long edits with all the zoom in and the arrows and text box, and all the branding, your logos, font, and everything is done for you. Once you're ready, you can easily edit it. Again, as easy as you edit PowerPoint, everything here is draggable. You can move it around wherever you want. You can blur sensitive information and so on. So it's really easy to do and to publish it once you're done. Cool. So that's 2 minutes on how to do it. And again, it's really easy. I invite anyone to just give it a try, and it's pretty intuitive.
Okay, thank you for the demo, Yoav. Yeah, I think the first time I've used Guide, what stood out to me the most is how like simple it is to use just by default if you don't need the advanced options. To how quickly everything is generated once you're done recording the process. It feels almost instantaneous. And then third, the ability to go back and edit things or update them quickly is really nice because then I don't have to re-record all the process all over again. With that, I think we've touched like enough on learning and development, and I want to make sure we get to the other sections. So Yoav, thank you again for sharing these insights. You've covered several helpful examples and use cases of how AI video can improve learning and development. This event is sponsored by Guide. It's a free Chrome extension that generates how-to video guides instantly using AI. Individuals and teams use Guide, create training content, provide customer support, and explain product features. Get the free Chrome extension by visiting guide.com, and that's the word guide with 2 Ds in the URL. And by the way, I'm seeing that we have over 200 live viewers across LinkedIn and X. So that's great to see. Thank you for everyone tuning in. We'll now shift the discussion to customer support and how AI video can help companies provide superior customer support. Providing excellent customer support is crucial, yet many organizations struggle with high volumes of support requests and maintaining quality. Yoav, what are the primary challenges in this area?
Cool. So I think in the sense we're introduced to OpenAI and ChatGPT and the entire LLM trend, we've seen a lot of chatbots for support cases across the board, right? You have Salesforce Einstein, and you have Intercom Fin, and you have Zendesk and others. And I think the biggest problem, and it's also something that we touched about in Vegas in a support driven expo, that the basic thing is for the chatbot or for the chat GPT like support to be effective, you need to have two things. First of all, you need to have enough content because content is the key. If you don't have the content, the chatbot won't be able to really address any questions. And you need to make sure the content is up to date. If the content is 2 years old, the answers are not effective as well. So I think today, if you look at most of the help center across the board, like small or big companies, usually 50% of the features aren't covered in the help center or they're 2 years old. So I think that's places where content is key to really allow the chatbot to cover at least 20% to even 50 to 60% of the support question without involving a human in the process.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point you bring up. So, like, even me as a customer, when I have a problem, I want instant support. If I'm going to the documentation or the help page and I'm not finding what I'm looking for right away, now I'm, frustrated, and now I can't, finish or fix whatever the issue is and get my work done. So you have, how does AI video technology help resolve these customer support challenges?
Cool. So I think what we've seen in the market, first of all, support and video is relatively new. Traditionally, everyone were using text, sometimes text with a screenshot, but video is relatively a new trend. And you see it in real life examples that when you send a video to a user, he watches the video, understand what to do, and closes the ticket versus a more traditional back and forth. When you write someone and he doesn't understand, you ask a clarification question. So originally, on average, you have between 5 to 6 back and forth questions until a ticket is resolved versus a video, which is usually one off. You send the video, and understand it, and that's it. And ideally, and I think that's like the number one KPI for every VP support is ticket deflection. You want to have enough content, visual content, even video content to make sure the user can find it in a more self-service manner, and even you don't want them to reach out to support. So I think that's like, on the one hand, you want to make sure they have enough content for self-service. And if they do reach support, to make sure the chatbot have you covered so you can scale without adding more and more headcount to the team.
Yeah, I really like that use case. And I think too, like, video is even just way more engaging to watch, and the visual sort of guides and things like that are way more engaging than just also like just text only responses. So Yoav, could you share a success story of how a company utilized Guide to enhance their customer support?
Of course, I think we have numerous of use cases we've seen. I think first and foremost is you see when you start using videos as a concept, even if it's guide or other tools, you see usually a drop by 20 to 25% of the number of support tickets because people just watch it and are more self-sufficient. Now, we work with one of the largest fintech companies in the US, and I think they had two key challenges. First of all, 60% of their support question came from Latin America, Spanish, Portuguese, and all of their content was in English. So I think one of the biggest challenges is multi-language support, especially where most of your team is usually English native. Sometimes you have people that speak Spanish, but you can't cover every language on the globe, right? Chinese, Japanese, German, French. So I think that's one key element. The second element is, for example, integration. The fintech company we're working with, they had more than 1,000 different integration. How do you integrate the product to Stripe, to HubSpot, to Chili Piper? So it's tons of integration. Most of the support team didn't know 95% of the different integration. They knew the top 5 or the top 10. So I think with video, you can, with 1 2 weeks, create hundreds, sometimes thousands of videos covering every integration you have in the product or every feature. And then the entire process makes it really easy. Even if you're a new support rep in the team, someone asks you, how do I integrate the product to Microsoft Defender? Even if you have zero understanding of what Microsoft Defender is, you have a video that is up to date and the number one guy in the team created it. So it's approved and you just answer it. So it makes the team much more, I would say, the ramp up and time to value for a new employee until he can actually take a shift and address question is really fast and effective.
Yeah, I really like the efficiency aspects, the localization aspects too, especially for bigger companies where they have customers in different geos and in different countries. I love that use case as an example. And then one more thing to address for, customer support teams, like how does AI video help alleviate resource constraints?
I think first and foremost, by reducing the support ticket, again, we in Guide, we use Intercom Fin as the chatbot, and we use Guide as the source of truth for the content. So we offload more than 50% of our users' questions using Guide and a chatbot. So I think first and foremost is ticket deflection and reducing the load. Once you do reach to support, with videos, the time to resolve a ticket drops from an average of 6 hours to around 5 minutes. So every support rep can just address much more tickets. And also, then, as we said, the number of threads or the number of back and forth is reduced from 5 to 6 to 1. So also the user gets a superior experience because he asks the question, he gets it, and move on to the product. So I think it's across the board. You address more, you have less tickets, and each rep can address more tickets, so you can do more with less people. So I think it's like the ideal and most effective process.
Yeah, I like how it's almost like a force multiplier in a lot of ways. So these are helpful examples and use cases for how AI video can improve customer support and customer success. Yoav, thank you for sharing these insights. This event is sponsored by Guide. It's a free Chrome extension that generates how-to video guides instantly using AI. Individuals and teams use Guide to create training content, provide customer support, and explain product features. Get the free Chrome extension by visiting guide.com. That's the word guide with two D's in the URL. We'll now shift our discussion to product marketing and how AI video can help companies introduce new product features. So, introducing new features can be challenging, especially in a saturated marketplace. What are some of the main obstacles in product marketing?
So I think it goes back to how we started. First of all, personalization. Right today, creating the content is hard. So usually you have the same marketing campaigns or product marketing campaigns that are targeting most of the audience, and you try to make it as generic as possible. Now think about like Redis, right? One of Guide's customers. If you're using Redis over AWS or Redis over Azure or Google Cloud, you don't expect the same content. If you're an admin or a developer, if you're using Redis search versus Redis SQL. So based on who you are and what you're doing, you expect different content. And then I think short form videos, which can address each specific video based on your needs, is key here. Another challenge today is that you need to use the content in a lot of different channels, right? You have emails, you have Slack, you have in-app pop-ups, you have checklists, you have product tours, you have different ways to communicate using WhatsApp and book messengers. So there's a lot of omni channels that you need to cover. And one of the key aspects is how you can reuse or recycle the same content across different channels. And again, video here, I think, is probably the most engaging one. And also you can create more interactive videos where you actually ask questions and change the video based on the user response. Like you ask him, are you using Mac or Windows? And based on that, you can change the video. Are you based in the US or Germany? And based on that, you can show him the video in different languages or different topics. So I think it's the content creation, the personalization, and how to use it in a more effective way based on who the user is are really key to make it successful.
Those are great points, and I really like the example that you shared about the company using it to introduce and explain product features. With companies that use Guide in their product marketing efforts, how do they measure the success of their video marketing campaigns and what results have they seen?
Cool. So most of the product marketing team, they have some KPIs they want to improve. Could be like improve the activation rate, improve the conversion rate for a sign up, or make sure that users use feature A or B because they know it makes the product more sticky. So usually there's one or two KPIs that you want to improve, and based on that, you build the campaign. Now, what's key here is the actual analytics behind the scene. Let's say I have a playlist of 4 new features that I introduced, and I can using my marketing automation tool, HubSpot, Marketo, I can just create a campaign and send the playlist with the videos to my entire user base. Now, based on the analytics, I can know exactly which users are interested in which features, and I can actually segment it based on maybe SMBs are interested in feature A versus enterprise that are interested in feature B. Maybe there's like customers that are in the retail are interested more in that feature versus customers that are in finance. So I think using a combination of video and analytics and the marketing automation tools really helps you segment and understand the needs or the interest of each buying persona. And based on that, you can follow up either using automation tool or using a sales rep, right? You can follow up at the right timing based on the engagement or the viewing of the actual video behind the scenes.
Yeah, I really like that example. I know in the case of enterprise, being able to see which people like in your list or like in your email list or in your community engaged with a specific feature, video, or feature documentation, and then assigning that to like a sales rep to look into that account, see if there's an opportunity to sell like that feature or that capability to that client is a great way to upsell and grow those accounts and obviously generate more revenue for the company. So I think that's a great use case. And then one last question when it comes to product marketing. Yoav, how do you see the future of AI in product marketing?
So I look at the AI advancement and the latest partnership like Apple and OpenAI and all that stuff, that the goal is to make it like a one-on-one personalized communication channel. In the past, you did it based on segment, based on ICP, based on stuff like that, or persona or profile. Today, it could be like a one-to-one work marketing campaigns and really create the visual or the audio on the fly based on the user engagement, based on the content is watching, based on the answers is providing you. So it's really like self-assistant or personalized assistant that can help you with the product and guide you through the process.
Yeah, I love that. I think the personalization aspect is a big one. And because companies will have access to the customer data, there's a lot of possibilities there. So, Yoav, thank you for sharing these helpful examples of how companies can use AI video to improve product marketing and assist with introducing new product features. This event is sponsored by Guide. It's a free Chrome extension that generates how-to video guides instantly using AI. Individuals and teams use Guide, create training content, provide customer support, and explain product features. Get the free Chrome extension by visiting guide.com. That's the word guide with two D's in the URL. So that concludes our sessions. Thank you, Yoav, for these insights into how AI video can transform learning and development, customer support, and product marketing. This was a great conversation.
Cool. Thanks, Andrew, and thanks everyone. And feel free to try it out and give us feedback. We'd love to get your opinion.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you to everyone who joined us today. We hope you found this session informative and useful.
Bye, guys.